this is Paul with To Live For, and today we are bringing to our audience Rachel Horton White, who I connected with online, and I just really like the vibe that Rachel was putting out there. Um, Rachel is an intuitive counselor, and I'll have you explain a little bit about what that means to you because we
Mm-hmm.
have different definitions for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, what is an
What does that
intuitive?
mean? Well, I use my intuition, or tapping into my higher self, my inner self, to provide guidance to people on their lives and various situations that they find themselves in their lives. And it's the word counselor is a little bit about blending some of my background in goal setting and action oriented work in my former career. So it's kind of combining these two worlds to assist people in moving forward to align with who they are and who they want to be and what they want in their lives and what they're meant to do in their lives, hopefully.
So you mentioned former career.
Yes.
Are you willing to share what that
Sure,
was?
yes. I was in the nonprofit field for years, almost, might have been, 13 to 15 years, in social services primarily, and went to graduate school for public administration, nonprofit management. And that was wonderful for a while. I really wanted to make a difference for people, and especially with immigrants, refugees, new Americans. And I was lucky enough to manage a community center in Portland for about almost 5 years with the nonprofit agency there, and enjoyed that for the most part. Although I think I had my first child, and things started changing, and then I had my second child, and I started realizing that it was not fulfilling me anymore, and it was my energy wasn't
draining you.
Yes, thank you. It was draining me, and so I had been wanting to leave for a while, but it took, I was feeling very stuck, and I didn't really know what else I was going to do. And it was actually our babysitter who you just met, Liz Colburn, is this amazing woman, who suggested hiring a professional coach, and so I did. And she helped me. Her name's Lael Jepson. She's a business here in Portland, and she helped me kind of work through some of the areas I didn't even realize I had been kind of blocked in, and open up to my spiritual self. That I've always been a spiritual person, but I hadn't always. I kind of moved away from that in when I had my children and in my career, and it just kind of opened me up to all kinds of new areas. And with her help, just and felt like I had the courage and the bravery to go into a new place of started with tarot readings. I was doing tarot readings for people.
Wow.
And then I started doing some workshops, and then people said, well, somebody said to me, I'm really more thinking about individual, like I'm not sure I want to be in a group. And so I was like, oh, all right, I can do that, and so I started doing individual coaching or guidance sessions, I call them, for people. So from there it just has evolved from one-on-one work with people to some online courses, because people can access it from anywhere, and I can work with more people and as a group, which channels my inner teacher. I also taught English at one point. So it's just it's evolved from the nonprofit to this. It's a totally different field for me now, but it's exactly what I feel like I'm kind of meant to be doing at this point in my life, and I want to be doing. So
Still helping
lucky.
people, just
Yes.
in a different way.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's a much. I feel like it's a much deeper way. It's it's diving down very, very deep, because I had often felt in my previous career in nonprofits that I was always putting Band-Aids on things, and of course it's really helpful to give somebody diapers, but that doesn't solve their core issue, which is why is it that you're struggling? Why is it that you're needing diapers and or whatever it is, food, and so yes, I feel like I'm able to work with people now that really dive down to some of the patterns that repeated patterns in people's lives, areas they feel stuck in. Honestly, the reason I can do this is because I've applied it and I've done it in my own life, and I'm still doing it to a certain extent. So, yeah.
So you mentioned spirituality and that you've always been spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
What does spirituality mean to you?
To me, it means, that's a really good question. And to me, now in my life, because I'm always, every day I'm learning and evolving and growing. And to me, it means believing in and then something beyond myself as a ego-based human. Because, I say beyond myself, but I think it's within myself too. So it's, there's we all have souls, and I think sometimes we forget that, that we all have souls. But it's also, it started from a young age when I would have dreams that would come true a lot, and I never really knew why that happened. And I would just tell my parents, like, it's so weird. I had this dream, and then it happened, and what's that about? And so I think to me that was, I learned that there's more to reality than we see with our eyes, and it was really through dreams that I was, talking to people who had passed on, and they would talk to me and for my whole life, and then I would go tell somebody, like I had, somebody, your mother who had passed away came to me and told me something, and I feel like I'm supposed to tell you. And so that's one aspect of spirituality, but I think it's forces, senses, and by living life and knowing that there's more out there, like I said, than just the mundane. And it really, for me, just it enriches my life so much to know that there's support for us in another, whether it's the universe or whatever realm we choose to call, the higher realm, the spiritual realm, or the lower realm, the elemental realm, or that there's forces out there, that we're all connected, universal life force, energetically, it's love, so I think it's always fueled me and kind of always come back to it, and it's helped me kind of deal with kind of I always use the word ego, but the day-to-day kind of problems or human concerns that come up. And recently, honestly, very recently in my life, I decided, it's really kind of a choice, that I said, I am going to, everything I do is now based on what I call divine guidance. So it was actually based on, here I'm sharing my little secrets that might sound a little crazy to some people, but it's based on, I've been seeing like messages and signs and songs, and then it's sort of, and then number sequences, like number sequences all over the place, repeating numbers, and just, why do I always see 1111 everywhere, 1111? And then
I'm with you on the 1111.
Yep.
All the time.
Isn't it amazing? It's the angels. Yeah, it's and then 222, and then it's 555, and then 444, and like everywhere. And so I started researching it, and I realized, they call it angel numbers, and I didn't know a lot about angels, to be honest. And Doreen Virtue is a great person, probably know her. So and I think there's still in my skeptical mind, like, I don't know, is that really real? And it kind of was just a choice that I made. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stop questioning, and I'm going to stop doubting myself, and I don't want to do that anymore, because it just feels better to just kind of believe that's not just a coincidence, seeing these numbers all the time. There's something behind that. And so it kind of started with that. And and so now I say, well, I'm just, every decision I make, almost now, I ask, is this the right decision? and then I intuitively, sometimes get an answer in my mind, and then I try to trust that and live by it. So that's a very long kind of answer to your question about spirituality, but for me, it's evolved from questioning to doubting for a while. I was almost an atheist for a little while in my life, and then had some very spiritual experiences that I couldn't understand, that kind of woke me up to, and then to now just really accepting and trusting myself, and with myself, it's really just the higher, it's the divine within all of us that I now acknowledge.
So I want to tie that into your what I'll call work,
Yes.
and I don't want to
Please.
oversimplify, but is it safe to say that the kind of the struggle or the challenge you're talking about is trying to identify your soul's purpose and helping your clients identify their purpose
Yes.
for their soul?
Yes.
So not so much the outward materialistic worldly purpose, but what feeds our soul.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
Has that been a challenge for you?
In terms of my own work or with other people?
In terms of your own work, in terms of, and you've talked about it a little bit, but in terms of, what's the word? Living in this world,
yes,
but
yes,
trying to focus on your soul's purpose
yes,
and not
yes,
the outward stuff.
Yeah,
the ego. You talk the ego.
Yeah, it is a challenge. It is a little bit of a battle, but I think it's getting easier more and more. I think, and also I believe that we're moving into this. Well, we're in this new period of what some people call the golden age, the age of Aquarius. There's different terms for it, but this shift in consciousness that we're experiencing, and we're like, there's some people that know a lot more about it than I do, but that we're babies in this 1,000-year period, thousands of years. But so I feel hopeful that, and I've noticed it, that people are open to knowing that there's something beyond themselves that is helping to guide us in this world. Although we do have free will, we can make our own choices. So sometimes that's why people, why do these horrible things happen? Is there really a God? Why would a God allow this to happen? Or whatever you call higher force. A lot of people use the term God. Well, it's because we're humans and we create some of this stuff, and God, or whoever it is, the universal, divine forces out there are not going to always intervene, because actually we have to ask them. I think that's something I learned really early, is that they don't intervene unless you ask. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that's kind of, okay, I gotta ask. So anyway, yes, it's definitely been, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And I feel sometimes like a lonely place to be, because not everybody thinks or sees things and experiences things the way those of us, you and I and others, the way that we do. And so, and not to say that we're better or we're more evolved or anything, but I think it's just, when you live in a way that's guided by this, core spirituality, it's just very different than being guided by something else, And so I think with me, I really like to I'm very open with clients and people that I can't connect with or just talk to, like with you, that I base a lot on my own personal experience. And then I share with people, well, this is what worked for me and this is what I experienced. And not to say this is going to work for you, but I can share what happened to me and my direct personal experience, and in hopes that maybe you might see some kind of hope in your own life to apply these things in your own life, but that it might also be possible for you. And I notice that more and more and more, and that people are searching for something beyond themselves, and tired of functioning in a way, being guided by the fears and the doubts and the worries of the ego-based mind. And I can sometimes talk about the concept of an inner critic, which I learned from my coach, of
we
the
call
ego.
It the roommate.
The roommate, yeah. There's so many different terms. Yeah, the roommate. I like that. I haven't heard that. A roommate who just won't go away. Like, what about Bob? Like, they always come back. And it's like you're constantly. So for me, it's constantly like, all right, that's just my ego mind. That's just my ego mind. And I have my own coach to help me with that, because it's hard for me too to kind of get it out of the way. But
how do you do that every day? What is your practice, maybe, that helps you focus on your soul's purpose and keep that inner critic away?
I will start every morning. I try to give gratitude for what I have, what I'm lucky enough to have in my life, or to enjoy my life. And I have actually a reminder on my phone that comes up every morning, several different reminders. I thank the divine, and some for the blessings that have come into my life. And what somebody told me this, what will you have me do? What will you have me say? Where will you have me go? And kind of those questions that immediately set the tone, like energetically. And, it's like, even instead of waking up like, oh, I gotta, take a shower and go to, I don't really go, I like my job now. It's not like go to work anymore, but, or, there's always something that might come up, or I've got to deal with something, or, fix the budget or whatever it is that I'm working on. So it sets a tone. But then there's that, but then I try to tap into my breath, which we all have. And that's the way, quieting the mind meditation is literally the answer for me to how to tap into our inner self in small moments. So, if I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, instead of checking my phone, of course, sometimes I do check my phone, but I'll try to just focus on my breath. When I'm driving, I might put on some nice relaxing music, focus on my breath, and talk to some, I might ask for guidance in my mind and see what comes up. And then, so it's like throughout the day, through small moments, because then it's your brain starts to get get used to going to that place, listening to your inner self, to your intuition. But then, there are times when things come up, life happens, and, there's a worry that comes up, a situation that comes up. It's a lesson I'm supposed to be learning, right? And I don't always know why, but then if I start to really worry about it, or if I'm getting better at noticing, my husband will help me with this too, when I'm feeling stuck. And so I'm like, all right, I need to go do some meditation, like right now. And that almost always helps. And sometimes I write about it too. Like I'll process. I have some tools that I've learned, and with creative ways to kind of work through some stuck areas instead of just writing. Or there's different writing prompts or that I to share with people that really, for me, I'm a writer, so it worked. But I also believe that we channel our subconscious when we hand write things, and so it's a way to meditation is a way to tap into your inner self. But sometimes it's not, I don't want to say it's not enough. That's a horrible, because I love, but sometimes it isn't. And sometimes it takes a little more. Like, where is this coming from? And where did this belief or this story that I'm carrying with myself first start in my life? And when, instead of, dwelling in the past forever, but identifying where it came from, and then kind of saying, all right, I see where it came from, and I see how it's affected me. And and I want to move away from this false story, this limiting belief, whatever we call it. And
Great words, false story.
Yeah. And so it's like, I'm going to choose to separate from it. I'm going to ask to no longer be part of my life. And there's different questions that I've learned from other people, and I do now, that I try to put to practice. And then it's like, I'm going to do my best to notice when it comes up, to notice when I'm telling myself that false story. And to just say, all right, I see you're there, because they don't go away. They always come back. The roommate, the inner critic, they always come back. But I just say, and I literally did this the other day, and I'm like, nope, I'm sorry, I'm not listening to you, And so it's like a constant practice of just kind of identifying that. And it's, and then, like I will, when I sometimes before I'm meeting with clients, I work very closely with people sometimes. And a lot with individual people, and sometimes my ego comes up, and I feel like, I take things personally, and I just say, I ask for assistance in pushing my ego aside right now, so I can work with this person in this pure way as best possible, because it's not about me and taking things personally. Of course, it's hard, but
sounds like you're willing to do the work, though. And you are doing the work. You have been doing the work, and.
Yeah, I will say it takes work. It's discipline too. A lot of this is about discipline. I think it does. It's sometimes, for a while, I was like, I'll believe and I'll visualize, and that's great. But we live in this world for a reason, because we're humans and we're here learning lessons and evolving. But so I think it is important to put structure and around, because it's easy to kind of just go off and not, get really disconnected from the everyday world. And I know that that's not realistic for me. I live in the United States, and I have, bills to pay and stuff like that, or blessings for already received. So I try, it is this constant balance of integrating those two sides, the everyday with the spiritual, and then how and functioning as a human being in this world. Yeah, and it takes some work, but I believe it's gotten easier for me, and so that the hope for people listening is that it might. I believe it gets easier. I felt it gets easier with time.
Time and practice.
Time and practice, right?
Yeah. So you're a mom of two wonderful children, and you were married to Chris, who happens to be a musician, and I've listened to some of his songs.
Oh, that's great.
But I'm wondering, as a mom and a wife, how you integrate your focus on your soul's purpose in terms of maybe being a teacher to your other family members and your friends, and how perhaps they might be teaching you as well.
Yes. Well, my children are my greatest teachers. They are, I think for everybody, our children are our greatest teachers, because it's also, I believe children these days are different than when we were children. Yeah, I'm 38 years old, and the children are, I think, here to help heal our planet, and they're
definitely.
And so they're very open, they're very intuitive, and so some, they're just, they operate so differently than we do. And so I, without getting into some of my personal beliefs, I think the ways we can best nurture them are not always within some institutions that have worked that we think might work for children, or solutions like medication or whatever else. Some, there's some. Won't go too much into that, but I think anyway. So
that's another interview.
That's another interview, yeah. but it's still challenging, because I think I also I believe it's my job to also teach my children, like, this is how people act in the world. We don't hit each other, and we are kind to each other, and so it's that constant balance. But for me, it's my son Aaron is almost 5, and he's a wonderful, bright, energetic soul, but he can push my buttons too. I mean, so I think in those moments, it's practice for me. It's practice,
right? For
like noticing when I'm feeling a little angry or frustrated, and just trying really hard to quiet my mind, focus on my breath. And it's not about my ego, like, you're not listening to me, or doing what I ask you to do. And it's, of course, I sometimes fall back in that too, but I think it's like I said with everything, it's a constant practice. And I do read parenting, this wonderful website called Aha Parenting. Laura Markham is amazing for anybody who's looking for parenting advice. But I think it's the same thing with the ego. I think sometimes we think, well, this, like my job or my parenting is not a spiritual thing. It's a separate thing. Oh, I just want to, it takes away from my meditation practice, and I've seen that, and people get frustrated. But actually, what I believe is that it is your practice. It is your, right. It's when you practice your skill, your tools. It's when you are, I don't want to say being tested, because that sounds kind of harsh, but it's almost like, all right, you've worked on being present, you've worked on self-awareness, you've been working on patience. That's a big lesson for me. Here you go. Here's your chance to apply it.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so, yeah. And with friends, I think, I think I have wonderful friends that sometimes our friends ebb and flow, and we grow, and sometimes we change. And I think I have new friends now too that I think energetically can support me in my place as well as where I'm at, and and so I'm a teacher, but I also want to have friends that I can just hang out with too, and vent to, and so that's a whole other area too.
Right. So back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
As a practitioner
mm-hmm.
or a coach,
mm-hmm.
how does someone, are you focusing more now on the one-on-one work? Are you still doing some classes? It's mostly one-on-one?
That's a really good question. Actually, it's both. It's both. I think I do one-on-one with people, but that is very intensive, very personal work. So it's not for everyone. And also, I'm not sure everybody, I don't resonate with everybody. Not everybody resonates with me.
Right,
so
right.
I think I only work with small numbers of people in terms of clients. And I only work 3 days a week. I only do this work, and evenings a lot, but so I don't have a lot of time. So the part of my solution to that was doing some online courses, and there are more people that are in some of those courses, some of them local, some of them out of state, who will, I put together a curriculum of videos and other inspirational things and inspirational words of wisdom from, well-known public figures, and videos that I've done, guided meditations that I've done, and just different written tools. And this, one of them was an 8-week series, which literally I sat down and did it, and it just came out. It was like, this is what I've done in my life. Quieting the mind, working on limiting beliefs, emotions and energy and thoughts, and how those things that manifest in our reality, higher guidance, taking action and putting something out there, experimenting, the shift in consciousness. It was like these different areas.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was a sequence, and I think it came through me. Just came through me. It's like, this is what did I do? What did I do to kind of transform my experience? Oh, this is what I did. I'm going to lay it out for people, and I'm going to still add to it. I actually just yesterday I added another video because I was like, I want to tweak that a little bit because I have a different take on it now, because I'm always evolving. We all are always evolving. So anyway, but it's a way for me to kind of put some teachings out there in a way, like, here you go, here's a book in terms of online course, and then I think, this work, it's for me, I valued so much having somebody help me with my specific situation. So I build in a couple of individual guidance sessions, which I just do virtual, video conference with people, to help so they can ask, this is what's coming from my life right now, and what do you think? And so I will do my best to give them some, guidance on what they're experiencing at that moment, and actually there's some group ones so other people can hear too what, it's the same, because we all have the same common human experience. We just go through different things in different stages in our life, but I think we can all relate, and it can help everybody, so.
Right. Well, I love the work you're doing.
I
typically ask kind of a challenging question.
That's great. Yep.
It's in most of the interviews, but in one word.
Yes. That's always hard for me. One word.
If someone is watching this interview and they feel stuck in understanding or connecting with their soul's purpose, one word.
Yeah. What to do.
What to do.
Meditation. Simple. And I don't always like to use that word because it's a loaded word for people. But so I was going to say quieting the mind. That's 3 words. So I call it quieting the mind. Stillness, but it is meditation.
Just connecting with yourself.
Yep. That is the one thing. It's quieting that's where our inner self, I say the inner self, the higher self lies within the space between the thoughts. And it's just the one thing that will change people's lives.
Say that again.
The inner self lies in the space between the thoughts.
I love that. Are those your words?
I made that up.
Love that.
I didn't make up the space between the thoughts, but it makes sense to me, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So do you have a website or?
Yes.
Okay.
Soulfulworkconsulting.com.
Okay.
Is my website.
And we're connected on Facebook. Do you have a Facebook page in addition to your own?
Mm-hmm. It's called Soulful Work Intuitive Consulting.
Okay.
And Facebook page.
I do put a link I'll put a link at the end of the interview to both the website and the Facebook page.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Are you on?
I'm on all kinds of social media stuff: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I also post blog posts on Medium.com, and I answer questions on Quora, which is a really cool place. Have you ever heard of Quora?
No.
Yeah, people can go and ask questions about anything. Like, I'm looking, what should I invest in this week? Or I'm struggling with depression. Can you help me? Or, are aliens real? Like all kinds of questions, and people just answer them. Like pretty well-known people too. It's pretty cool. It's amazing.
Oh, that's a look.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
check that
So
out.
yes, I'm on. I'm probably forgetting some other things, but yeah.
Well, to live for our purpose, our mission is to really just kind of share a positive vibe share love, share joy,
Mm.
and you exude that. And,
Oh,
and
thank
your
you.
work with people, we certainly have your back.
Thank you.
Really encourage you to keep helping people do the same, because that's
That
really,
means a
I
lot.
think, we feel that the more we connect people who are about connecting people, creating community, and sharing love and joy and positive vibes, that's better for our earth.
Yes.
And our earth needs that right now to counter all the negative energy that's going
Yes.
on.
Well, thank you for what you're doing and spreading that positive love, because we need it, and you're helping to do that too.
Thank you.